Rebecca Paul to move the motion.
It is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Sir John, as I bring this debate on government support for employment in the automotive industry. The automotive industry is an important part of the UK economy, contributing 93 billion turnover and 22 billion value added. It invests around 4 billion each year in R&D and employs around 0.8 million people across the wider industry. Many of these jobs are high-skilled, high-paid jobs, of which a considerable proportion are outside London and the South East. But I'm pleased to say that some of these high-value jobs are in the South East, in places like my constituency in Reigate. In Burheath, just down the road from Epsom, you'll find the UK HQ for Toyota GB. Not only is it one of the biggest employers in the local area, but it is also an eco HQ. In a project that started in 2014, Toyota partnered with Kew Royal Botanic Gardens and the Surrey Wildlife Trust to create a landscaped oasis full of native species from the surrounding countryside, complete with an orchard and meadow. It is wonderful to see a business taking the time and energy to ensure its HQ fits into our special corner of Surrey. And it doesn't stop there. Outside of the site, they have supported many local initiatives, from providing meeting rooms for community meetings to providing buses for local groups and charities. More than £40,000 in grants were given to local groups in 2024 to support their work, like the Brigitte Trust, Homestar, Epsom, Newell and Banstead, St Catherine's Hospice and Warren Mead School Parent and Friend Association, just to name a few. So today, before I talk more broadly about the automotive industry, I want to take the opportunity to thank Toyota GB for their significant contributions to the Banstead, Burheath and Epsom area. The automotive industry as a whole is an important one to this country, to our economy, and it's vital that it isn't smothered by over-regulation, over-taxation and green initiatives. It's only by creating an environment that is conducive to growth that we'll see the creation of more high-quality jobs. UK car and commercial vehicle production saw a significant decline of 11.6% in February 2025. Worryingly, this marks the 12th consecutive month of declining car production. This must be an important wake-up call. More must be done to protect the automotive industry we already have here. More must be done to help grow it, and more must be done to encourage inward investment in new plants and new technologies. It can only continue to create new jobs and innovative technologies with growth-supporting policies. The automotive industry accounts for over 12% of total UK exports of goods, generating 115 billion of trade in total automotive imports and exports. 8 out of 10 cars produced in the UK are exported overseas to 140 different countries. But automotive manufacturers now face additional US tariff costs of around 1.9 billion, which will have a significant and detrimental impact on the industry. The USA is the UK's second largest car export market after the EU, with exports of over 101,000 units in 2024. These tariffs have material implications for competitiveness, investment and export potential, and it's vital that the government's policy making reflects this new protectionist and uncertain environment. With this massive setback to the industry, it's now even more important that we get things right domestically to create an environment that stimulates growth for this important industry. So today I want to raise some of the biggest challenges here in the UK, and I would ask the Minister to confirm her plans to address these. In simple terms, for an industry to thrive, it needs to be able to manufacture products at competitive cost, employ people with the skills it needs, have free access to a market for its products without barriers of restrictions, and not be taxed to high heaven so it can reinvest in innovation and growth. A good product will always do well. If it's something someone needs, it provides value for money, and it makes their life easier, they will buy it. It really is that straightforward. So let's talk about the ZEV mandate challenge first. The zero-emission vehicle mandate sets out the percentage of new zero-emission cars and vans manufacturers are required to produce each year up to 2030. 80% of new cars and 70% of new vans sold in Great Britain must be EVs by 2030, increasing to 100% by 2035. Part of the reason for introducing this policy was to provide investment certainty for the charging sector to expand the network, given that lack of charging points is one of the things that puts consumers off buying an electric car. There can be no doubt that it is a well-intended policy, but as the old saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Notably, the moving of goalposts by governments of various colours in recent years is deeply unhelpful. The last government made the decision to delay the ban on new diesel and petrol cars by 5 years, from 2030 to 2035, whereas this new government has reversed it. putting aside the question of which position is the correct one, this chopping and changing is not fair on the automotive industry. They need certainty and consistency so they can deliver what's expected of them while still growing their businesses. But I do also want to recognise the government's recent announcement to increase the flexibility of the ZEV mandate, which I know is welcomed by the industry and shows that the government is listening. I particularly welcome the reduction in fines for missing targets and the allowance for all forms of hybrid cars until 2035. However, I would suggest that the whole approach in this area needs to be reconsidered as a priority. Tinkering isn't enough. The ZEV mandate targets are incredibly challenging for businesses to meet. It makes no sense to expect businesses to dictate what products their customers should buy, when we all know that it's consumer preference and need, and rightly so, that should drive the products a business sells. In 2025, ZEV sales will need to increase by 43% for cars and 171% for vans for automotive businesses to achieve the mandate targets. This is not achievable. And for every missed EV sale, there is a fine of £12,000 per vehicle levied on these businesses. So the automotive industry really can't win on this one. Consumers aren't ready to buy EVs yet because of the lack of charging infrastructure, battery range issues and cost. But it's the automotive businesses held responsible and expected to pay the price. If we continue this way, we'll see contraction of the industry, plant closures and job losses, all in the name of net zero. And it has already started with Vauxhall owner Stellantis announcing plans to close a van factory in Luton, which employs around 1,100 people. The industry has already invested billions in bringing over 130 ZEV models to market, and despite spending some £4.5 billion in market support for EVs in 2024, they still missed last year's target by some way. This level of support from industry is unsustainable and is diverting resources away from investment in new technology, models, plants and R&D. I would urge the government to take responsibility for its role in delivery of charging infrastructure and lowering of energy costs, rather than beating businesses over the head for their own failings. I would also urge the Minister to review the mandate targets ASAP and consider other more effective ways of driving growth in EV take-up. It would make much more sense to incentivise consumers rather than penalising businesses. The ZEV mandate targets cannot magically drive demand out of thin air. What we need is more carrot and less stick. Has the Minister considered such alternative options as reducing the VAT on EV sales and on public charging, or on offering plug-in grants for cars? These could be straightforward and effective ways of boosting consumer demand. But if the government is really wedded to the current draconian ZEV mandate approach, the fair thing would be for government to commit to delivering public charging infrastructure on equivalent targets. So, for example, in 2025, the target is that 28% of new car sales must be electric. So government must ensure by the end of 2025 that there are sufficient public charging points to serve those new EVs across the UK. And if government fails to do this, then that shortfall should be offset against the fines levied on the automotive industry, reducing what they have to pay. Surely that is fairer. Government needs to play its role and must be held to account when it doesn't deliver too. Before moving on, I want to touch on domestic energy prices. And this applies to all manufacturing industries, not just the automotive.
Would Donald Brady give way?
I will, of course, give way.
Can I commend Donald Brady for bringing this forward? And, Mr Chairman, or Sir John, I did some research for my back home in Northern Ireland. I'm sorry I can't speak in the debate and because I have sponsored an event at 10 a.m. and I can't miss that because if I'm not there, they can't have it. So in relation to the automotive industry, does the Honourable Lady, in Northern Ireland we have a vibrant sector, gives some 11% of employment, some 13% of GVA, and that's down not just to Wrightbus, which has a great sales across the United Kingdom and indeed further afield, but also to the other automotive industry in Northern Ireland. So does the Honourable Lady agree that when it comes to support for business and help for research and development, that government needs to step up to that? We have the skills and indeed we need the support. So today's debate is a significant step in the way forward for us everywhere in this great United Kingdom. Research and development in the mainland, yes, but also in Northern Ireland. I think the Minister already knows that, and I suspect the Minister is already doing that for me. Thank you.
I thank the honourable member for that intervention, and I do agree about the importance of supporting businesses. And I think one of the themes you'll see from the debate today in my speech is also about making sure that we remove those obstacles and barriers. I think sometimes we put more in the way that hinders that growth, and I hope that conversation starts today and we can get to a better place where we're supporting our amazing automotive industry, which delivers so much for this country, and including Northern Ireland. So energy costs must come down. They can't manufacture at competitive cost with energy costs being so high in comparison to what other countries pay. Again, we must not shoot ourselves in the foot with net zero obsession. We must make sensible decisions on energy mix to ensure energy security and value for money so that our manufacturing industry can compete on the global stage. That means investing in nuclear and not making the mistake of thinking that solar and wind is the silver bullet. I would urge the Minister to provide her views on how she intends to reduce energy costs for manufacturing industries in the short to long term so they're better able to compete. And I also recognise that some of this is going across many other briefs, so I do appreciate that this is not something that the Minister on a standalone basis has full control over. And that now brings me on to another important challenge, that of ensuring we have a skilled workforce. Research by the Institute of the Motor Industry suggests that around 107,000 additional technicians will be needed by 2030. This is an amazing opportunity for this country, and the more the industry grows, the more jobs and opportunity there will be. But we must ensure we have people here with the skills to take up the jobs to ensure success of the industry. And that's why it's so important we must support apprenticeships, which are a great way for young people to gain the skills they need whilst working. A survey from the SMMT in February 2025 found that the UK automotive sector will increase apprenticeship numbers by 16% in 2025, with opportunities spanning manufacturing, supply chain logistics and vehicle maintenance. The most in-demand roles are design and development engineers, EV technicians and specialists in batteries and power electronics. This equates to over 700 new apprenticeships available among UK automakers. I want to take this opportunity to mention East Surrey College in my constituency, which offers full-time and part-time qualifications in vehicle technology, maintenance and electric hybrid vehicles. I recently visited and I was so impressed by the expert teachers, the well-equipped workshops with industry-standard equipment and the very talented and engaged students. It's important we ensure that we provide the right courses so that people with the right skills are available to fill job opportunities within the industry. And East Surrey College is certainly playing its part. On the topic of Level 7 apprenticeships, I would also ask the Minister to clarify what the impact will be of abolishing them on the automotive industry and how she plans to mitigate any detriment. Additionally, I would urge the Minister to consider how the new government's employment rights bill will impact on the automotive industry too. In February 2025, the Motor Ombudsman survey found that 58% of businesses reported difficulty recruiting qualified technicians to meet growing workload, and that these difficulties would be made worse by the Employment Rights Bill, which is causing businesses to re-evaluate their hiring strategies. It's vitally important that the UK remains competitive and that the industry isn't further burdened when it faces so many challenges already. It is already clear that the rise in employer national insurance contributions is putting additional pressure on the automotive industry with a cost of £200 million. And this increased cost of doing business in the UK will reduce inward investment, economic growth and ultimately jobs. The Institute of the Motor Industry said, and I quote, "These changes are likely to have a significant impact on costs for small businesses that operate in the automotive sector, which is already facing a skills gap of 20,000 vacancies." And they have also said that these additional costs will dampen investment in training and continuous professional development. If this government is really committed to boosting job opportunities and growth in the automotive sector, it really needs to reflect on some of its recent policies. Just saying that growth is a priority doesn't make it so. It needs policies that don't put obstacles in the way. Lastly, I want to raise the challenge of taxation. In the interest of time, I won't speak in detail, but the automotive industry has raised concerns about recent announcements on proposals to ban employee car ownership schemes and changes to capital allowances and benefit-in-kind treatment for double cab pickup vehicles. The SMMT is concerned that these changes will undermine the market, hit profitability and viability, and have serious consequences for UK tax returns, automotive OEMs and their employees and sole trader small business operations. I would ask the Minister to confirm whether there are any plans to remove or adjust the vehicle excise duty expensive car supplement too. I think that's probably enough from me for now, so I will bring my comments to a close so that anyone else who wishes to contribute has the time to do so. I thank all honourable members here for attending this debate and showing their support for the automotive industry. Thank you.